With just a few minutes to respond, I'll offer a few additional comments on both education and practice. So I agree with the urgent need to mainstream zero carbon design, and I would add that in order to adequately address the climate crisis, we need to fundamentally recenter design education in the concepts and the techniques of climate justice, and recognize that meeting the challenge of climate change will require a lot more than the technical skills of building science. For schools of architecture, central to this effort is the work of creating space and curriculum to talk about the ways in which architecture, both the material nature of our design work and the policies and practice that underpin our professional culture, have directly contributed to climate change, to environmental racism, and to white supremacy. So I know that the call for net zero building seems plenty daunting. It's enough of a challenge for us to all wrap our heads around. But I believe that this larger call to action stands to radically alter our understanding of what architecture is, who it is for, and what agency we ultimately have as designers. I think this framing can offer both opportunities and challenges for practice and education. It means we cannot just throw a few new tech electives at the problem and call it a day, as many of the respondents have already said. On the other hand, embracing a climate justice frame means that there's something that every class can contribute to this conversation. And we all have a role to play in figuring out how to respond in a way that is authentic, that is central to the amazing work that educators already do. And that there are many, many strategies for us to employ in our teaching and in our practice. So we have 10 years to radically decarbonize the entire building and construction sector. We need to slash both operational and embodied carbon, all of it, on every project, and the need to mainstream those techniques couldn't be more central. All of this does mean there's no more time for business as usual in practice, in policy, or in design education. If it is unethical today to build the way that we have for the last 50 years, I would argue it is certainly inadequate and probably unethical for us to teach design in the same way that we have for the last 50 years. We need to prepare students both to use the existing tools of analysis and to go out into practice and invent new ones, better suited to driving design decisions and transforming practice. But architecture is not going to tackle climate change solely within our disciplinary silos. And so many of the wonderful articles in this special issue really came back to this point. We have to forge new relationships, collaborate more broadly and skillfully, with urgency, with patience, with innovation, and with an open mind. This is likely the biggest transformation of design culture that I hope to see in schools of architecture. And many papers in the special issue shone a light on this need specifically. When I look to practice, I see incredible momentum today. Architects, engineers, contractors, clients are all working together to test decarbonization strategies and move them from modeling to reality, identifying all the numerous pitfalls along the way that we need to overcome, from cost to regulatory barriers to code to insufficient educational resources to the need for R&D. Academics, design firms, and nonprofits are collaborating on an ever-increasing suite of analysis tools and sharing strategies and case studies, often in self-organized collaborative spaces outside of their offices, like local AIA co-working groups, carbon leadership forums, regional and community hubs. Clients and communities are pushing designers to become more sophisticated also in their climate communication and in making the case for decarbonization. And they're pushing us to create projects that not simply are of benefit to building occupants, to our clients, and to architecture firms' profitability, but service of the broader public, and that are in solidarity with labor, with trades, with environmental and community health, and which can help grow a just and low carbon economy that benefits everyone. The work that's happening in There's also lots of good work that's happening in academia, but it can be harder to find sometimes. For some reason, the infrastructure to support collaboration and communication of open source knowledge, tools, and resources seems to be a little bit less mature, and it's often disincentivized. So this special issue offers numerous insights and strategies for us to all break out of that pattern collectively. In all three papers discussed today, and so many of the excellent pieces in this issue, I think we see signals that the depth and urgency of the climate crisis are beginning to sink in. The stark realities of climate change and systemic racism have yet to transform all of design education, but they're changing us personally. And it's leading to the kind of all-at-once transformation, bottom up, middle out, and top down that I think we desperately need. Thank you.